Welcome to Scorched Earth. This is going to be a mid-month reading for the sign of Scorpio, Sun, Moon and Ascendant. It's going to be a little shorter than the monthly generals because it's just covering a 2-week snapshot of the month. So what we're going to do is pull 3 cards for your current energy, 3 cards for what's coming towards you, and 3 cards for advice. See if we can't make it a little easier for you. I'm going to try not to pull any clarifiers if I can possibly help it, but I'm open to breaking my own rules as and when, if I feel the need to do so. So, let's have a look. I have 3 cards for Scorpio, please, for the last 2 weeks of May. 3 cards for Scorpio. Ooh. Okay. The first 2 cards we've got are the Queen of Cups and the 2 of Swords. Queen of Cups is in reverse though, that's interesting. 2 more cards for Scorpio, please. There you are. Death, flipped. It's not come out though, so I'm not going to take it. But it's nice to know that you're there. 2 more cards for Scorpio, please. We have the Ace of Wands. Interesting. 2 more cards for Scorpio. 1 more card for Scorpio, please. I don't believe it. You flipped again. Alright, Scorpio. Let's have another look. 1 more card for Scorpio. Right. And we have the 3 of Earth, but it's come out in reverse as well. This is really interesting. So, what a mismatch of cards for current energy. The first 2 cards that you had came out together, so we're going to read them together, but I'm just going to split them apart for a second. The first one is the Queen of Cups. Now that's strictly Cancer, but I don't think the signs are usually that relevant in the mid-month readings. The Queen of Cups talks about the emotional state. Right, cups being the vessels that hold the water, which are symbolic of emotions and feelings in the tarot. And the Queen is the feminine attributes of that energy in the court hierarchy. She speaks of receptivity and openness. There's a certain level of emotional maturity with this as well. But she's come out in the reverse. So I feel like you're holding yourself back about something, and it's so interesting that it should have come out with the 2 of Skies, which is the 2 of Swords in a standard deck, because that for me card, which usually depicts a woman sat with 2 swords and she's blindfolded, but she's got her back to the ocean, water being feelings and emotions, and she's got her back to the moon, which speaks to me of the subconscious and intuition, right? You're feeling a little bit closed up at the moment, and the 2 of Swords speaks about a decision, right? Something, usually an intellectual decision that you're trying to make, right? But you're kind of abandoning all notions of emotions and intuition. Like you're kind of starving yourself at input that could help you make a decision about something, right? Usually when someone does that, it's because they feel that their emotions will push them in a particular direction that actually they don't necessarily want to go in. And it's funny that we've got a card that talks about being emotionally closed, and then we've got one that talks about separating yourself from your emotions to just move forwards intellectually. I don't really like the 2 of Swords card very much, because I feel like the intuition and emotions are a really important part of decision making, and so when you isolate yourself from those, like you are depriving yourself of an extra layer of information, an extra layer of something that could help you make a wise decision. So this is here. Then we've got the Ace of Fire, right? And that's why I find this a little odd, because this is sitting in the middle of 2 cards that talk about being emotionally closed, separating yourself from your emotional state. We've got the 3 of Pentacles, as it is, 3 of Earth as it is in this deck actually, but it's the 3 of Pentacles, which is in the reverse, which also talks about this is a card of cooperation and collaboration, right? It's working together with people to achieve something. This is going it solo. really. This is doing it by yourself. This is not wanting to work with anyone else. So we've got these 3 cards here that talk about separating and distance and independence, yes, but not necessarily coming from the best place. But then we've got this card in the middle, right, which is the Ace of Wands. And it talks about passion and creativity and activity, right? It's inspiration a lot of times. On this card, it's depicted with an egg, right? It's that infinite potential of whatever it is that lies within. It's often an opportunity, or it can indicate something that really makes your blood run hot, you know. As I'm looking at this, it occurs to me that perhaps there's a pursuit of the physical here. And the physical only, if you get my meaning. You know, it's not wanting a relationship, it's not wanting to build with someone. It's not wanting to do any of those things. Oh, God, the 4 of Pentacles has just dropped out there. But I'm going to pull up a clarifier or two because I'm intrigued before I go any further. Well, holy shitballs. That was a whole splurge of cards, and do you know what? I think I'm going to take them because we've got the Ace of Swords in reverse, we've got the 3 of Pentacles, same card, in reverse as well. We've got the Moon here, and we've got the 8 of Pentacles. We've got the 5 of Cups here too. And all of this kind of pushes me towards an idea that you are absolutely steadfastly ignoring what's going on emotionally within you, right? You're separating yourself, you're distancing yourself, but you are actually also pulling the wool over your own eyes somewhere, right? This way up, this is truth, this is clarity of thought, clarity of thinking, right? This way around, it's completely the reverse. When the Moon comes up, it talks about that hidden place. It's things that, you know, the things that rumble along within it, you know, that pushes in a particular direction to do things. And when it comes up upright, for me, I tend to see it as an acknowledgement of there being something there, right? This is repression. I know other card readers read it differently, but for me, this is repression, active repression. You don't want to talk to anyone. You don't want to reveal your inner workings to anyone. And you're kind of pulling the wool over your own eyes about it. There's a certain level of self-deception going on here. And then we've got these 2 cards here, which talk about, you know, focusing on things that are gone rather than, you know, what you still have. And this card here, which is about work. Right? It's about toiling away at something until you become a master of it. And it feels a little bit like the cards are calling you out here and telling you that you're kind of working on the wrong thing. And notice how these 2 characters are kind of facing each other. It could be that you're really, you know, submersing yourself in your work at the moment so you don't have to think about these things. Or it could just be that you are really pushing down a path here that is focused only on what you've lost and not what you still hold. You know, the 3 of Pentacles here underlines the fact that you're not interested in cooperating, collaborating, opening up, building anything new with someone. That's a very Scorpionic knee-jerk reaction to something. So you'll have to fill in the gaps and see what it is for you that's caused that. But I do feel like there's been some sort of catalyzing event. You know, if this reading is resonating for you and the monthly one resonated for you, and I seem to recall there was some notion of kind of being pulled back towards, you know, an old soulmate, like maybe it just wasn't what you thought it would be, or maybe you didn't get the response that you were hoping for, something like this. But this feels like a snapping down, right? Completely snapping down, completely divorcing from openness, receptivity, and giving, right? I feel that quite strongly. So let's have a look and see what's coming towards you for the last 2 weeks of May. What's coming towards Scorpio for the last 2 weeks of May, please? We've got one card. It's the Empress in reverse. A lot of reversals for you today. I don't usually get very many because I'm quite attentive about putting my cards back the right way around, and the way I shuffle doesn't tend to encourage reversed cards. It's coming towards Scorpio, please, for the last 2 weeks. Okay. And one more card, please, for Scorpio. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Mage, which is the Emperor in a standard deck. And it's followed by the Eight of Oceans, which is the Eight of Cups here. This talks about moving away from old situations that give you no emotional fulfillment, right? And we know they're old because there's an Eight of the Cups, right? So they've taken quite a long time to amass, right? That doesn't happen overnight, doesn't happen in an instant, right? There's time and care has gone into these. With the Mage here, this could refer to your closed down state at the moment, yeah. And there being a certain liberation in realising the things that you thought were emotionally fulfilling weren't, and it frees you up to move away from it. But that doesn't quite feel right? Because when the Mage is here, the Magician, this is about manifesting in. What you're manifesting is native oceans. This feels like a self-fulfilling prophecy. It feels like you are manifesting people moving away from you, possibly, because you're shut down. Now, we've got more fucking reversed cards here. We've got the Empress in reverse. We've got the Three of Fire and the Lovers in reverse. That's the card of Gemini. And then we've got the King of Earth in reverse as well. Now, that's actually Libra or Taurus. But I don't feel like these are these are people. This feels like energies. Now, the Empress is in charge of abundance, right? Fertility. Can you think of a more abundant and fertile archetype than that, of someone who is literally bringing life into the world? Because that's what the Empress is, right? She's quite often depicted as pregnant, right? She's bringing new things into the world. In the reverse, it feels, with the cards that have come previously, like a refusal to countenance bringing new things into the world, right? It's just a no. I'll pull some more cards for this particular set anyway. Can't believe how many reversals are here. The Empress. That's interesting. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Queen of Cups again. But what's come out to clarify the Empress is the Emperor. Now that's a divine pairing there, right? So this could well be a relationship. But one is upright and one is reversed. And what is coming towards you is this reversed Empress. Now, whether the Emperor is what causes you, you know, the entrance of the Emperor, that's Aries, coming towards you and being like, let's do a thing, is what makes you go, no, there's just no future in this, whatsoever. That's possible. If these are two separate energies. If these are both your energies, then this is you attempting to control a situation by refusing to allow it to birth new things, right? Develop in any sort of way. But the interesting thing is the next cards that you've got, and these two splurged out together, the Three of Fire, which is the Three of Wands, and the Lovers in reverse. Now, the Lovers is a card that speaks to me of a choice, right? Now, obviously, it can be it can have an interpretation that talks about, lovers and relationships and stuff like that. But ultimately, it is, for me, a card of the choice. Now, this way round, this is either the removal of a choice or a refusal to make the choice. Right? You'll have to take it as it resonates to you. And then we've got this Three of Wands, which talks about expansion for me, particularly, right? Sometimes it can talk about travel, but it's about expanding your horizons. It's about expanding your life experience, right? So this is either a refusal to do it or the matter being taken out of your own hands. I'll get another couple of clarifiers for that. The Three of Fire and the Page of Swords and the Magician. Yeah, I mean, the second time we've seen the Magician in this spread now, like, you are manifesting something. But are you manifesting an absence of something, which is entirely legitimate? Like that. At the bottom of the deck, we've got the Three of Swords, which speaks of a broken heart. Underneath that, we've got the Hermit. Like, if you are heartbroken and you're retreating into yourself in order to lick your wounds and heal, like, locking down emotionally isn't the way to heal. It's a way to compartmentalize. It's a way to put things in a box and ignore them and pretend that they never existed. But, if you've watched any of my videos for any amount of time, you know that all that stuff gets, put in a bag and it gets dragged around with you. The two other clarifiers that we've got are the Page of Swords and the Page of Pentacles. Now, the Page of Swords is sometimes the stalker card. It's about somebody, checking up on you, potentially. But I feel like it's you checking up on someone else. Now, you don't want this person. You don't want anything to do with this person emotionally. Yet you have manifested the feelings that they have for you in some way. And you're refusing to see the value of what it is that they bring, even though you've manifested this to yourself. All right. I don't want to sound too harsh, Scorpio, but you lured them in with your charm and, probably sex drive, something like that. But you don't want to take it any further. The final card that we've got is the King of Earth in reverse. It's the King of Pentacles. What's that here? And that's the card of Taurus strictly, but it could refer to any earth sign. But if it doesn't refer to an earth sign, if it's just an energy, then it's in its positive, upright aspect. It's somebody who's very mature, dependable, looks after their own, very responsible, shows up because they want to, not because they feel any kind of obligation to do so. They show up because it pleases them to do so. But here, coming up for you, it feels like a refusal to engage on any kind of level, in any kind of cooperative sense. But the two cards that clarify are the Three of Pentacles, which has come out in the upright this time, and the Six of Swords. Like, this is moving away from this. Now, whether that is a person you're moving away from, or whether it is you in your reversed aspect, like absolutely washing your hands of any kind of responsibility for this person, you'll have to fill in the gaps for yourself, because I don't know. But there's a definite refusal here to work together with someone else. Like, you're not interested in it. If this is the card of working together, cooperation, collaboration, this is moving away from it because you're not interested. It's kind of sad. Like, obviously you'll have your reasons for it, but again, I would counsel against absolutely shutting down, because ultimately the only person that you really damage is yourself. It is possible to remove yourself from people's energetic spheres without doing that to yourself. It doesn't have to be an all or nothing deal. You can remain open. Right, let's get you some cards of advice. Can I have some advice for Scorpio, please? Well, seems like bullet pointed advice here, right? Because we've got the Page of Oceans, the Ace of Skies, and the Six of Skies. Now, if you remember, this came out in its reverse for you initially, right? In your energy. But we've got the Page of Oceans here, which is small messages of love. And for me, I see that as an apology, right? That's how I interpret that card more often than not. And then we've got the Truth here, you know, clarity of thought, clarity of expression, new ideas, new ways of seeing the world, right? And then the Six of Skies, which has literally just come out for you here because it's the Six of Swords. The advice seems to be apologise and tell the truth about why you're moving on, right? It seems very bullet pointed and very blunt. I'm just going to pull another couple of cards and see if we can put some, you know, some kind of extra interpretation in there, but there's something slightly self-deceptive about your current energy, about how, you know, you're seeing the world and seeing this situation, and you need to look at it a different way. What about the Page of Oceans, please? We've got the Six of Cups. Oh, and a shitload of other cards. Let me see. Oh, mercy. We've got the Ace of Wands, the Ten of Cups, and the Devil, right? This, with the Six of Cups, right? These are all cards that have come out to clarify the Page of Oceans. Now, this seems to me like someone who is absolutely terrified of the connection that they have with someone, right? So rather than it being about you being rejected, because I'm starting to feel like that's not really what it is, this is kind of worse. This is the fear of being accepted, right? The Six of Cups for me is a past life relationship more often than not. We've got the Ace of Wands, we've got that chemistry, you know, real sexual chemistry, paired with emotional fulfillment, and then absolute terror off the back of it. Like, so it's like the strength of a particular connection is almost too much for you to deal with, and it scares you so much that you just slam down all of the portcullises. Like, you will come no further. Whoever this is, they've kind of got under your skin and you don't like it, is how it feels to me. Now, good Lord, there's somebody in the turret upstairs. It could be an apology, but it could also be, you know, the cards kind of counselling you to maybe go within, kind of deep dive a little bit and see why it is that this terrifies you so much. You know, get some clarity on it. Try and work out why it is that you're thinking. But more than anything else, be honest with yourself and with the people that you're dealing with, right? Kind of have to be open to healing in order for it to happen. It doesn't just happen by itself. It certainly doesn't happen when you kind of go out of your way to make sure that those wounds don't ever see the light of day, right? The Ace of Swords. Ooh, yeah, it's clarified by the Queen of Swords, like the way that you're thinking at the moment. it's not very objective, it's not very logical, it's not very rational. You know, sometimes the Queen of Swords gets a bad rap for being emotionless, and she's not. She can just put emotions to one side. Now, if your emotions are overwhelming you to the point that you're shutting down, that's not a logical way to behave. The Queen of Swords with the Ace of Swords is asking you to see the truth about things properly. Be honest with yourself. Right? Just noticed we've got the Six of Swords at the bottom of the deck again, and I'm just about to clarify the Six of Swords. So, yeah, Six of Swords, please. Oh. We've got the Queen of Cups, Three of Swords, and the Fool. Now, the Six of Swords is about moving away from situations that have, you know, troubled you in some way. But it actually looks to me like you're, you know, because they've come out in this order, like this. And here's a new start, which I feel like you really, really want. But your new start is kind of taking you straight towards this. And it's here because you're not dealing with it. Like, you have to acknowledge your broken heart and then heal it and become compassionate to yourself and to others in order to move forwards, right? Because you're kind of on a collision course with this as it is, right? I hope this makes sense to someone. This is very scattered, quite closed read, and it might not be for everyone. But if it resonated with you, I'd love it if you'd like the video to let me know that I've hit the mark with you. And as ever, you know, consider subscribing and all that sort of thing. Yeah, there is an extended. It's an extended to the monthly, but I can see it fitting in with this very well, so I'm going to put a link to that in the description box. So if you're interested in that, that's cool. Otherwise, I shall leave it there, and I'll see you in about 2 weeks for the monthlies for June. My God. All right, take care, Scorpio.